All right, today's Fun Facts article starts out with a situation to kind of describe what we're talking about today. It says, you've just finished getting ready in front of the mirror and you can tell you look great. All right, so it's going to be a good day. You've got a nice outfit on, your hair looks good, your makeup looks nice, you're ready to go.
In fact, you decide to take a selfie.
Oh, you must really look good then.
Yeah, so we have some phrases to describe what we're talking about here. One of the ones I used was in fact. So Erin, what is in fact used for?
Well, the phrase in fact is used to emphasize something that is a statement. So it can be used to clarify what was just said, or it could be the opposite. So we might say, if I pass my driving test, I might say, or if Rainbow asks me if I passed my driving test, I might say, yes, I did. In fact, I'm now taking an advanced driving test.
And then you can also use words like furthermore or moreover to describe the same situation.
Right, okay, well, let's move on in the article. So you're standing in front of the mirror, you look great, and you've taken a selfie. But it says here, however, you hate the picture.
Oh, that's happened to me before.
All right, that happens to me quite a lot, actually. That's why I never take selfies. All right, we saw another grammar point in that sentence. So before we talked about the words in fact, furthermore, what's more, that kind of thing. Here we're talking about however, still, nevertheless, and nonetheless. Now, we use some words to express that something has changed or is different from the information you originally said. Okay, so some of the words we can use to do this are however, like we saw in the article. We took a selfie, however, we didn't like it. Now, we could also use the words still, nevertheless, and nonetheless. Nevertheless and nonetheless are a bit more formal though, so we don't use them in regular daily speech as much. Here are some examples using these words. I don't think I'm going to like this movie. Still, I'm going to watch it because I want to hang out with my friends. Okay? I know that Percy weighs quite a lot. Nevertheless, calling him fat is not very nice. Here's another one. We missed seeing the cherry blossoms in Japan this year. Nonetheless, it was still a wonderful trip.
So these are different transitions we can use, and they have different purposes.
Right.
The next part of the article says, why does your reflection in the mirror look so much better than the photograph? Ooh, so that happens to me a lot too. You see the picture and you're like, oh, I look very strange. Do I really look like that? So here we're talking about the noun reflection. Reflection is the image that you see of yourself when you look into the mirror. You can also see a reflection if you look into a lake, water on a beautiful day. You can see your face, it's kind of moving. Or you can see a rainbow when the light is reflecting off of like a CD or a really shiny surface. We call this a prism, and you can see the colors reflecting. So reflecting is the action of light hitting a surface and making another image.
That's right. Okay, so in the sentence, we're talking about how you like the reflection in the mirror better than you like the photograph. Now, a photograph, this noun, is a picture that you take with a camera. We can also call it a photo. We're just cutting off the graph. That means the same thing, just a shorter way to say it. Now, here's an example sentence of photograph. Could you take my photograph in front of the painting? I want to remember this moment. Okay, so why do you like your reflection in the mirror better than the selfie? Now, as we do in all Fun Facts articles, we're going to have 3 answers. So what's answer A, Rainbow?
Answer A says, mirrors make your skin look smoother.
Okay.
So what does this mean, smoother? So we have an adjective called smooth. So when your skin is smooth, it means it looks even, it's flat, there are no bumps. Maybe sometimes you can get some pimples or you have moles or other things on your face. If it's very smooth, it usually describes how something looks or something feels. So for example, I could say, wow, Erin, your your car is amazing because you just got this new wax on it and it has a smooth, shiny surface. Or I can say, oh, I just got this really nice leather backpack and it feels super smooth and it smells great. So smooth is a good thing usually. So I have an example sentence here. It says, I love my new silk dress because it feels so smooth on my skin.
Okay, so maybe the mirror makes your skin look smoother, okay? But here's answer B. B says photos flip the image of your face.
Oh.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is how something flips. Now, flip is a verb, and when you flip something, you move it into very quickly into a different position, such as from top to bottom or from side to side. Now, here we're saying that you usually see your face from one direction, but the camera makes you see your face from a different direction. It kind of turns your face around a little bit. Here's another example. Olivia flipped the pillow over and laid her head on the cool side. A good trick for the summer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so here we have the word image. Image is a noun. When we flip the image, we're flipping the picture or a representation of something. So when it says that the photo flips the image of your face, basically it makes the left side of your face become the right side, the right side become the left side.
That's
so the angle's a bit different.
Exactly.
All right, so here's an example sentence. The children sat quietly, staring at the images on the TV. So they're not doing anything.
Sounds
they're
quiet, but they're probably not learning very much.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, okay, we have one more answer for our question, which is why does your reflection in the mirror look so much better than the photograph? Here's answer C. Mirrors show more light. Okay,
interesting.
So we've got three different answers. Mirrors make your skin look smoother. Photos flip the image of your face, and mirrors show more light. So maybe less shadows, sort of they give you a better idea of what your face looks like. Now, what is the answer, Rainbow?
Ooh, so congratulations if you guessed answer choice B.
Oh, okay.
So that's because no one's features are exactly symmetrical.
That is true.
What does the word symmetrical mean? This is an adjective. So symmetrical is when you draw a line down the middle of your face, one side of the image looks exactly like the other side. So maybe we can talk about some figures in geometry. We talk about symmetrical figures. So this means like if we have a rectangle, we fold it in half. If we have a circle, we fold it in half. The left side and the right side are exactly the same.
That's right.
So when we talk about faces, symmetrical faces are usually considered extremely attractive. It looks good because the two sides are the same. So this side's not bigger and this eye's not bigger. Unfortunately, my face isn't perfectly symmetrical
Neither is mine. And
Do we look weird right now?
No, but that's the thing. Almost nobody's faces are exactly symmetrical, right? Now, I know that my face isn't symmetrical because my mouth isn't symmetrical.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so one side is different than the other side, basically. Okay, so here's what's happening in the mirror. It says, when looking in a mirror, you likely direct your gaze at the side of your face that you find more attractive. Okay, so this is basically what Rainbow is saying. You want to look at the side of your face that looks nicer. So that's what you're used to, right?
Which side is your side?
I'm not really sure, actually.
I'm going to go for my left.
Okay, I'd have to look in a mirror. But here's what we're saying. When you have a gaze, when you're gazing into the mirror, okay, we can use gaze as both a noun and a verb. Here it's a noun, and it means a long, steady look. Now, if you use it as a verb, you're just saying that you're looking at something in a long, steady way, okay? So you're gazing into the mirror, and when you are looking into the mirror, you can say, this is a gaze, okay?
All right, so here we have the adjective attractive. So attractive means good looking or pleasing or nice to look at. So an attractive person can, as we talked about before, have a very symmetrical face where two sides are the same, or they can have some traits that are considered very good looking in their culture. So for example, here in Taiwan, if you have large eyes, a small nose, and you have a small mouth, maybe more kind of like a Western look, this is usually considered very attractive. So here we have our example sentence. Many people in Korea get plastic surgery because they want to become more attractive.
Okay, so you're looking in the mirror, you're just looking at the side of your face that you think looks the best, right? And here it says, as a result, you become used to seeing yourself in a certain way. So you just get used to kind of looking in the mirror and being like, oh yeah, that's my best side. I'm going to take my selfie from there. All right, now in the sentence we used another one of those grammar points we talked about earlier. So before we talked about what's more and in fact, and then we talked about however and nevertheless. Here we're talking about another one. We're using therefore, thus, as a result, consequently, or as a consequence. Now, sometimes we use certain words or phrases to show that one thing has caused another thing to happen. Now, we did so in that sentence with the phrase, as a result. We used it to show that because you usually look a certain side of your face, you get used to seeing yourself in a certain way. When you see it in a different way, it seems strange to you. Here are some example sentences with the other words. The typhoon is expected to hit Taiwan at 8 a.m. Thus, school and work have been canceled. Or we could say, Roger is late for work every day. Consequently, he has been fired. And one more, Ida broke her leg this morning. As a consequence, she won't be able to play soccer this year. That's too bad.
Too bad. All right, so in the next part of the article, it says, in a photograph, the image of your face is flipped. So we talked about this word before.
Yeah, that's right. It's just turned around a little bit. So it's a different way of looking at yourself. Now, here it says, most cameras flip your image in selfies as well. So the mirror is flipping your face and the camera in the mirror is flipping your face as well. It's just making your face look very different.
Yeah. Therefore, you see it the way others do instead of the way you're most familiar with. So here we have this word that Aaron mentioned before, therefore. So therefore, to explain a little bit more, this is a transition or a connection word, which means as a result of something. So what this sentence is saying is that because the camera changes your face when it takes the picture, therefore, so as a result or because, you might look like a different person in photos than in the mirror, and it could be just a little bit strange to you.
Yes.
All right, so we have another example sentence here. The power was out in the whole office building, and therefore they could not get any work done.
Okay, so we also use the phrase instead of something or instead of doing something. Now we use this phrase to show that one thing is not going to be used or happen or be done because something else will be used to happen or be done instead. Now here's an example. Use the black pen to write your name instead of the red one. So don't use the red one, use the black one.
So here we have the phrase to be familiar with, to be familiar with. So when you're familiar with something, that means that you know it very well because you have either learned about it or you've experienced it before. So here's our example sentence. The professor assured that his students were familiar with certain basic concepts because they were taught last semester. So basically, the professor is like, you should know this because I taught you that before. You should be familiar with it.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You're looking at the selfie and you go, oh, I don't know. Who is this girl? I don't like this. And here's what's happening. It says here, this might make you more aware of small details you're unhappy with. So you're used to looking at the good side, now you're looking at the other side, and you might become aware of things you don't like. Now, this is an adjective, and if you are aware of something, such as a situation or a fact or an idea, you know that it exists or is real or it's happening. In other words, if you're aware of something, you know about it. Here's an example. Are you aware that Yvette was in an accident last night?
No.
It's another way to say, did you know that she was in an accident?
All right, so the next word we have here is detail. So detail is something very small. It's an individual or small fact or a part of something bigger. So our example sentence is, Erin, I heard your proposal went really well. Tell me all the details.
So what I'm going to tell Rainbow is how the proposal went, what it's all about, what my boss said about it, all those little things. All right. Here's the good thing. You might be seeing the small little details you don't like, but luckily, since other people are used to this side of you, to them, you're always as pretty as a picture.
Aww.
Perfect. All right. So you are used to seeing yourself one way. Your friends are used to seeing yourself another way. Now, we use this phrase, be used to something or be used to doing something. Now, if you are used to something, you have experience with that thing. So you know what it's like, you know how to use it, what it looks like, and other things. Now, if you are used to doing something, you have done this thing many times before, and you know how to do it well.
Oh, you're familiar with it.
Exactly. Now, here's another example. I'm used to getting up at 7 a.m., so sleeping in until 10 a.m. is a special treat.
That's so early.
It is. I was up at 7 a.m. this morning, actually.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of today's article. We do have another fun fact tomorrow, but before we say goodbye for today, we're going to go to For You Chat.